So it's been a few months since lockdown, and as things start to normalize, there's one thing that still stays quite consistent, and that is your savings. Maybe you recently got some stimulus from the government and you've been holding on to that for dear life. Or maybe as a business, you've been getting some stimulus and you've been holding on to that for dear life. Or maybe, just maybe, you have some retirement savings that you work all of your life for and you've been holding on to that for dear life. But regardless of the fact, one thing stays consistent. The amount of money that you have had saved up every second of the day and every day that goes on is losing its value the longer it stays in your account. And how is that so, guys? How is that possible? Well, quite simple. At the rate of the Fed printing out a certain amount of money over time, record amounts of stimulus that's being printed out more and more, well, there becomes more cash available in the economy. And as more cash becomes available, the less valuable the dollar or the euro, wherever you are living in the world while you're watching this video right now, the less the value of your currency becomes, the more of it that becomes available. Simple supply and demand. What is the resultant effect? If you continue to receive stimulus, the more and more money that you get, it is valuable to a certain extent. But as time goes by, and if money continues to be printed as it has been, then how much we value that money becomes less significant, which means that the buying power that we have is actually less. And look at it from more of an economic standpoint. As the inflation increases, you know that 10 years ago or 20 years ago, what you purchased back then, you can't purchase today. And that's always been a trend. So long as money, as we know it, fiat currency that is regulated, currency that is centralized, that is monitored by a centralized institution, as long as that system continues to exist, then the value of currency will continue to diminish. Even though stock market is going up, even though essentially more money becomes available, we value it less because there's more of it. Guys, quite simple. So how does that affect your savings? All right, well, it affects your savings for the same reason that why you're holding that money in there. There's a sense of scarcity. So when you holding on to your money, you feel like that little bit that you have is more valuable than if you had so much of it. Back in February, back before everything was in lockdown, people were spending their money like crazy. People were making money like crazy, so there was more confidence. The economy was boosting. People had that confidence to go and spend it, and now everyone's holding on to dear life. Holding on to dear life. You see, but what if I told you that there was an alternative, right? What if I told you that savings that you have in your account, if inflation is at what they say 1%, then, and you keep your money in your account for a year, essentially, but your savings account, you left $10,000 in that account, and your savings account only gains 0.01% interest, then that means that $10,000, you will only have about $10 of interest in that account over the course of a year. That's 0.01%. Now you tell me, if you're gonna leave your money sitting there over 10 years, 20 years, just so that you can make an additional $100 to $200, is it really worth it? Now consider the fact that inflation rates are whatever the rate is going to be. I'm not an economist. All right, I'm just a simple person who studies and watches market trends and watches the economy for my own personal purposes. But if you just study that and you look at essentially the value and you look at the market trends and you see what happens over the course of a year, the course of 2 years, the course of 3 years, and you see that inflation taking place, right? Inflation denting the value of the dollar over time. Well, inflation is increasing faster than the amount of a return that you get at your savings account. See, if we go back 40 years ago, right, savings accounts were amazing. But today, right, you can see any of the banks that you can imagine, your local Chase Bank, Santander Bank, your any well-known bank. You go to the banks right now, what you're gonna see? You're gonna see high yield savings accounts at 0.35%. Guys, who's gonna get excited about that, right? If you intend to use that as a vehicle to grow your money, you are wasting your time, guys. You are absolutely wasting your time. But what if I told you that there was another alternative? And there is another alternative. What if I told you that there is something that you can actually put your funds into that is not going to depend on a fiat currency system that's centralized by a government that will continue to print out money as they see fit, that's only based on more of a political system? What if I told you that you can instead put that into a decentralized system that's more based off of a meritocracy, that's based off of essentially a proven technology that is objective, that's purely based off of mathematics and science, and that in that system, as time goes by, the more valuable that currency actually becomes, due to the fact that it becomes more and more scarce over time, which is the total opposite of what we have right now. Right now, we have more and more dollars being printed over time, right, which makes it more and more available, more and more abundant. So hence it becomes less valuable. What if I told you the opposite is true? Where you can actually get you can actually put your funds into something where it becomes more and more scarce, which makes it much more attractive, a lot more demanded. Hence it becomes more via that system, which is all proven by mathematics and technology, that it's fully verifiable, it's decentralized, it's hard to counter, it's almost impossible to counterfeit. Well, I mean, most of you probably got the hint by now. The hint by now, which of course I'm talking about here, is of course blockchain. I'm talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about cryptocurrency. Guys, I'm talking about the fact that you can invest in a technology right now. You can invest in cryptocurrencies and put your funds in an account where instead of growing at 0.35% on a high yield like most of our banks are doing today, essentially while they're printing out as much money as possible and then none of it comes back to the consumer, you can actually put your funds into an account in a proven technology that over the last 11 years, if you look at the history of blockchain and the history of Bitcoin as a decentralized, as a almost impossible to counterfeit system that's almost in the quickest form of transaction speed that's available in comparison to previous old technological platforms. You have your funds in an account, and that it's growing at a much more staggering rate, right? Bitcoin and blockchain, the cryptocurrency market tends to operate at an exponential and logarithmic rates, versus when you look at the dollar, which is more from an addition rate. So would you rather have your money grow from a very slow rate, or would you rather have it grow at a large rate? Now, some of you here might say, hey Vinny, well, I'm not here to take that much risk, right? And one thing I will tell you, cryptocurrency, yes, they are volatile markets. They're definitely volatile markets. Now, however, one advantage to having your funds invested in a volatile market is quite simple. When you invest into a volatile market, well, essentially, yes, high volatility could mean high volatility for a loss, but it could also mean high volatility for a gain. And that is the expectation for a gain. Whereas you could put your funds into a conservative account and leave those funds there, or just leave it in your savings account, which is the best example of probably the most conservative account that exists possible. And if you do that, then what will you get? Well, you'll get conservative results. And for some of you, that might be totally fine. Hey, I'm perfectly happy with just leaving my funds in an account and not having it grow. And that's fine. But one thing I will tell you, if you decide to take that route, if you decide, what is my purpose of talking you into getting into investing into a highly volatile investment account? Quite simple, guys, because if you don't, then you're losing money. That's simple. If you don't invest your money into a more volatile account, you're losing money. Why? Because the Fed is printing money at a volatile rate. Hence, inflation, or what a lot of market experts are expecting right now for hyperinflation. I'm not here to say either of or, right? However, just from my personal experience, what I see is I would, if I'm gonna have $10,000, $100,000 sitting in an account over the course of a year, and by the time that year comes around, inflation hit the value of my $100,000, so I can't buy with $100,000 in 2021 what I could buy with $100,000 in 2020, then I need to find another strategy. So I'm literally putting my money into an account, and inflation is devaluing my money that I worked so hard for just by it sitting there. So that means I need to turn up the velocity of my funds somehow so that it can actually produce at a higher rate than what inflation is. That is why I bring to you the idea of Crypto Elite. Yes, guys, Crypto Elite. And what is Crypto Elite? Crypto Elite is a platform that is created by a institutional investment advisor fund, a hedge fund, an institutional investment hedge fund that's located out of the UK. Most of their customers are clientele, high net worth clients who usually have somewhere around $100,000 in at least net in net income, and at least $1 million in assets. So these high net worth individuals use the services from this institutional hedge fund, which is called Endotech, in order so that they can create a more significant return. Now let's understand that, of course, they are making much more of a higher risk investment. However, if you look at some of the track records and the track results, what I'm gonna show you here on the next screen, you're gonna be quite surprised to see what type of results you can get when you actually do get into a more volatile or high risk type of investment. High risk has the potential to create either high reward or high loss, right? But you can't get a high gain on a low risk unless you get that low risk over long term, essentially. So Crypto Elite is the platform that my company Kuvera has utilized to bridge that same benefit that these institutional investors, that these high net worth individuals are benefiting from with Endotech. And in partnership with Endotech, have been able to create a much more simple way where you can get in with as little as $1,000. You can put in, that stimulus check maybe that you got for, $1,200, or maybe that some of that EIDL that you receive from your business that you have sitting there, you're not sure what you're gonna do with it yet. You can put some of that into your Crypto Elite account and have this company, this institutional hedge fund, actually do the trades on your behalf. Now, how does that actually work, guys? I mean, did I get your attention here? See, the way it works is quite simple. So you create your own accounts. You create your own cryptocurrency account, whether that's with Binance, Gemini, or any other related. You have to check which broker is available in your state that currently is being accepted with the platform. All right, but let's just say Binance or Gemini or one of these companies. So you then, once you open up your account, you provide your API keys, and upon providing your API keys, which basically still only gives you the key sole access to your own account, nobody else can get into an account, they just sort of mirror your account. Then you partner up with Endotech. Endotech has an AI platform. It's an algorithmic platform that uses artificial intelligence and watches for weaknesses in the cryptocurrency market and trades and hedges on that. Now, the moment that it sees a potential for, once it's in a trade and it sees a potential for a low loss, then essentially for a big loss, what it does is it will close itself out so that it protects the most investment, or it will convert the trade into a more stable coin. That way it can protect your investment and it lowers the volatility. Now, the AI is doing all of this for you. Now, when it seizes these big weaknesses in the market, it capitalizes on that and it trades it, and once it gets its gain, it'll trade it back into a stable coin again. Now, that's pretty fantastic, guys. Now, and by the way, for those of you who don't know what a stable coin is, a stable coin is quite simply a coin that is not as volatile, right? That the fluctuations, like Bitcoin is not a stable coin. Bitcoin fluctuates between $4,000 to $10,000 at any given time. So that's a pretty big jump. But there are other coins like USD Tether, for example, which the platform utilizes a lot. So it utilizes that risk in order to create these sizable gains. And that's how you get those powerful results that I just showed you on the chart recently. And this is something that has been in the works for over the last year and a half, that our company has been having conversations with Endotech, and we finally put together the partnership. We've already had success. If you look at the next screen that I'm about to show you, you'll see that we've had our first quarter with Crypto Elite. When we first launched it in April, we've had our first 90-day period, and over that 90-day period, you will see that we've been able to return it in profit. Okay, and that's only happened over the last 90 days, guys. Usually the contract that you make with Crypto Elite is for over the course of a year. However, every quarter, there are profit share points where you get to decide whether you want to collect your profits, share your profits with the institutional investor, or if you just simply want to wait, then you can ignore the quarterly profit shares and just wait until the end of the year and then pull over all of your funds. But there's so many different strategies and so many different ways. See, what's so awesome about these guys, the fact that they're savants, that they're sophisticated, that they understand the markets, is that they work with you as a team. They understand that, maybe this is your first time or your first experience investing in a Bitcoin, so they're gonna work with you. They're gonna be excited about work with you. They're gonna understand your personal situation, and you get to customize what is your risk strategy. For example, what I do is every single month I put $1,000 into a different one of the 6 strategies, which I'll show you on the next screen. And look at how differently the strategies are performing. You'll see that each strategy has a different performance percentage. You see, so it's up to you to determine what is your potential or risk appetite. Right? Everyone has a different risk appetite. You have to determine essentially what's yours. Now, if you're in the US, you can take advantage of the more conservative strategies, which are still high risk, but they're more conservative than the international strategies. The US based strategies are all beta, and the international strategies are all alpha. And international, you can use either alpha or beta. Again, you have to look at your risk appetite. Now just think about, let me just pull up the results here for you one more time. All right, so just while you're looking at these results, just think about how long have you been having $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 sitting there in your account for years? And you look at your account the next year, and maybe you don't deposit, let's assume you don't deposit any more money into that account. You just leave that money in there just to save it. And you look at that account over the next year, and you see it's the same amount of money in there. And you got to ask yourself at that point, well, was it really worth it? Was it really worth it that I just let my money sit there and now that money isn't even as valuable as it was last year? But now let's say that you put that $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 into Crypto Elite with those results. Now, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. And trading in the markets or investing your money in the markets has the potential to lose all of your money at any given time. So there are no guarantees. But think of what the difference would be if you actually invested into, if you actually just had your funds sitting there, but sitting in a working trading account. Think of that, guys. Think if you just had it sitting in a working trading account via our Crypto Elite platform, and you used any of these strategies. Use any of these strategies that I show you right here. Either one of those, what are the chances that you'll walk away with more money with that same amount of account than if you just left it in your savings account? I'll ask you. I'll wait. You see, this is the power when you tap into a technology, a world-class company with a world-class investor, and you have a world-class patience. This is the potential of what can happen, guys. Now, of course, I've invested a good amount of my money into this. In fact, slowly I'm transitioning over from all of my savings back into more so the Crypto Elite, because I see the value in it. I see how much more powerful, especially what a narrow window of time a year is, guys. If you really think about just in a year's time, most people don't even have $500, don't even have enough to pay the rent in a year. But let's just say you're not one of, let's say you're one of those people and you got that stimulus check, or you landed on you have some extra unemployment and you put some of that money aside. You know you're gonna save it anyway. You know no matter what you're gonna save it. But you put that aside, and you put that aside into your Crypto Elite account, and you look at your account a year from now. What is the potential that you're gonna see more in your account at the end of the year than if you just put it in a savings account? That's my argument, guys. My argument is quite simple. My argument is just don't leave your money sitting in a savings account. That's it. It's that simple. It's simple, guys. You could very well put it in anything else, but why put it in anything else when you have Crypto Elite? All right, guys. So with that said, okay, what did we talk about today? We talked about how the value of the dollar is decreasing as the government prints more money. We talked about how as the government prints more money and inflation increases, then the traditional savings accounts that are available to the average citizen are performing at less than what the inflation rates are becoming right now, which means that by default, the average American citizen is losing their money by leaving their money into a savings account. Hence, the argument is that you as a saver, leaving your money in a savings account, are losing your money. Hence why I provided the alternative, the solution, which would be, simply put your money into a high risk, high reward account. And I have a specific high risk, high reward account that I use personally that has had provided benefits for me and for thousands of people around the world now who are using it, who are using this platform thanks to the partnership that our company here at Game Changers has with Endo Tech. All right, so there will be more information obviously below. I'll include some fact sheets. I'll include as well a little bit about what the performance is so far, some of the brochures, so you guys get to take a look at it. Also, my website will be below if you want to find out more information about this. But guys, it's this simple. How soon can you get started, you may ask? Right away, guys. How soon can you start having the account trade for you? Right away, guys. So essentially, why wait? Why wait? You know your money's just sitting there in the account, and you know that a year from now it's gonna look the same. Now you're gonna go maybe, and here's one last argument you may have for me. Well, Vinny, of course I'm just gonna keep depositing money into the account. Yes, that is true. But for every dollar that you deposit into your account, that dollar a year from now is 99 cents. Hence, for every dollar that you put into some sort of account, if you're gonna have it sitting there over the course of a year, make sure that that dollar becomes $1.01 or $1.02 or maybe $2. Find that vehicle, and guys, this is the vehicle. All right, so with that said, any other questions, you'll find my links below. You find my Instagram. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment, make sure to share with a friend, make sure to share with a family member. All right, show some love, guys. Hey, if you didn't like anything I said, drop the hate in there. I want to see your feedback, and I want to be able to build a community through this channel so that we can have transparent information. Guys, one of the last things I'll say here is you're gonna be so impressed with the amount of transparency that our partner has, our partner Endotech. The amount of transparency they have in every step of the process, showing you what the results are. Guys, they have this platform trading for you, and they show you every step of the way. That's the beauty of blockchain technology or cryptocurrency, is that it is immensely transparent. And so you always be able to see that, and that is just a bonus. That's just the added value of you being able to utilize this type of system. All right, guys, so with that said, and if you're wondering about prices really, in order for you to get in, right, you usually would just get advantage of our elite program, and our elite program is at and I know it sounds like, my goodness, it's at $1,500. That's it, guys. At $1,500, you get to get into our program, and our program includes getting you access to a whole suite of other things that I didn't even include here. You could see in some of the other videos, right, which include essentially travel discounts all around the world. I'm talking about 5-star travel at 2-star prices, including secret masterminds that you'll get to have with tycoons in business, with major business magnates and major investor magnates in this world, people who are extremely well-known influencers that you get education from them, people who have proven decades and decades of success trading in the commodities, forex, trading, stock market, equities market, options market, who are providing a whole entire university so that you can learn the language that the investors use, so you can actually learn how to trade in the markets just like them. So that's all included, and then not to mention the fact that there's so many other things, such as the coin that I was addressing in some of the other videos, that you get access to, the wallet where you actually get your own Visa card, and you get to spend that Visa card in anywhere where Visa merchants are available, which is 73 million merchants. I mean, there's so many other things, guys, that I can't even include in this video. But that will all be included in your elite membership. All right, and the elite membership is a one-time thing. After that, you just have your subscription, guys. So imagine the power of what you could get from Crypto Elite. With that said, guys, this is Vinny Rodriguez, 8-Figure Vision. Go to www.vinnyrodriguez.com for more information, or you can check out the Facebook or the Instagram or the LinkedIn for a lot more insights. I'm also publishing articles you'll see in there as well about everything that's going on in the markets. And essentially, again, guys, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give any type of financial advice. I'm just here to share my personal experience, learning how to invest, making mess ups, making mistakes along the way, and then being able to, through finding proper solutions, being able to share with you what worked with me, in hopes that you don't have to go through as many mistakes. And when finding trends that work and finding things that have long-term value, that you're able to actually get into those same type of trends now. That way you're at the start of the wave instead of just getting hit with the end of the wave. With that said, guys, again, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. This is Vinny again, signing out.